President Trump has repeatedly proclaimed that America is experiencing a golden age under his leadership. He points to a strong stock market and low unemployment as evidence of this economic boom. However, a closer look at the data reveals a more complex and concerning picture. Inflation is stubbornly high, eating away at the purchasing power of American families. The job market, while adding jobs, is showing signs of slowing down. And economists are increasingly warning of a potential recession on the horizon. Is this truly a golden age for America, or is it a mirage? Inflation has been a persistent problem in recent months. The overall inflation rate in February 2025 was 2.8%, down slightly from 3.0% in January. While this may seem like a positive sign, core inflation, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, remains stubbornly high at 3.1%. This indicates that underlying inflationary pressures are still strong. The rising cost of living is hitting American families hard. Housing costs continue to soar, with a 4.2% increase in February. Healthcare costs are also rising rapidly, with a 4.1% jump. And even food prices, which had been relatively stable, are now increasing at a faster pace, with a 2.6% rise in February. The price of eggs in particular has skyrocketed, with a staggering 58.8% increase. These rising prices are eroding the purchasing power of American families, making it harder for them to afford basic necessities. While wages have increased somewhat, they have not kept pace with inflation, leaving many Americans struggling to make ends meet. The job market has been a bright spot in the economy, with consistent job growth for several months. In February 2025, the economy added 151,000 new jobs. However, this was below economists' expectations, and there are signs that the job market may be cooling down. Some sectors are experiencing strong job growth, while others are shedding jobs. Healthcare added 63,000 jobs in February, driven by an aging population and increased demand for medical services. The finance and construction sectors also experienced job gains. However, these gains were offset by losses in other sectors. Retail, hospitality, and the federal government all shed jobs in February. The retail sector in particular has been hit hard by the rise of online shopping. Section 4. Looming Recession. The federal government, the largest employer in the country, cut 10,000 jobs in February. This is concerning because government spending cuts can have a ripple effect throughout the economy. These mixed signals in the job market, combined with other economic headwinds, have led to growing concerns about a potential recession. The Atlanta Federal Reserve's GDP-NOW model is forecasting a 1.8% contraction in the first quarter of 2025, the worst performance since the COVID-19 pandemic recession in 2020. JP Morgan Chase, one of the largest banks in the world, estimates a 40% chance of a recession in the next 12 months. Goldman Sachs, another major financial institution, has also increased its recession warning from 15% to 20%. These warnings are based on a number of factors, including high interest rates, low consumer spending, and rising unemployment. The Federal Reserve has been aggressively raising interest rates in an attempt to tame inflation, but this could potentially tip the economy into a recession. Section 5. Mirage or reality. President Trump's claim of a golden age is based on a selective reading of the economic data. While the stock market has performed well during his presidency, this is largely due to factors such as corporate tax cuts and deregulation, which have disproportionately benefited wealthy investors and corporations. The reality for many Americans is much different. They are facing rising costs for housing, healthcare, and other necessities, while their wages are not keeping pace. The job market is showing signs of slowing down, and there are growing concerns about a potential recession. It is too early to say definitively whether the current economic expansion will continue or whether the U.S. will enter a recession. However, the available data suggests that the current economic picture is far more nuanced and less rosy than President Trump's golden age rhetoric suggests. It is essential to look beyond the headlines and examine the underlying economic realities facing American families.